Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today I'm in Whiteville, North Carolina, visiting Vann Underwood Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, and I'm checking out a 2020 Dodge Challenger in the RT Scat Pack trim level. This vehicle is sitting on 245/45 Goodyear tires wrapped around 20-inch alloy wheels with a metallic gray finish. It also has a high-performance Brembo braking system with four-wheel disc brakes that are ventilated and slotted on all four wheels. The name of this color is Octane Red. And the sun's shining right this second, so hopefully you can get an idea. It has this metal flake in it. Really nice, impressive dark color. So if you like a red color, but you don't want a real bright red, this one might be a good option for you. Okay, so looking at the front, it has a pretty good sized splitter across the front. So you can see that sticking out there. And it swoops up on the corners. Now it has the RT badging right in here. And you can see these pieces in here are a gloss black. You can see those going around. Other trim levels will have those as a chrome piece right here. And those are something that you would see in a 1971 Challenger. So that's what this particular model is modeled after, is the 1971 Dodge Challenger. So some of the design cues carry over, or they implement them basically in this design. So you can see these headlights have halos around the outside, and your turn signals there on the inside, all powered by LEDs here, except for the headlights and fog lights. They're halogens. But right there's a hole. So you can see on both sides there's this hole right there, and it has like this checkered flag pattern on the inside, which looks pretty cool when the headlights are on. But that actually doesn't go anywhere on this particular vehicle. Like the Hellcat and Demons, stuff like that, that actually goes in to the box where the air basically forces air into the engine, but this one's just capped on the end on both sides. The headlights are powered by halogen bulbs, and they're in a projector tube for your low and your high beams. So basically just refocuses the beam for your high beam. And then your fog lights are also in a projector powered by halogen bulbs. Now the hood is somewhat functional here. So you have these vents, and so basically what these do, these don't go into the engine or anything. They just give you, mostly for looks, but it does ventilate. It gives you some ventilation for the engine compartment, which is good when you have a lot of heat and you're not driving very fast. It's able to disperse that heat through those vents. But unlike some of the other vehicles, other Challengers, these, in this particular one, these don't go into the engine. They don't force air into the engine or anything like that. Has the Scat Pack badging here on the side, the 392, little bumblebee, looking pretty cool. So here, looking at the profile, has body colored handles, side mirrors, and the bottom portion of the vehicle is a flat black protective surfaces. So that's the same thing right here, continuing down across the side of the vehicle and there in the back. This helps protect the vehicle, the paint, and just from road debris. And also it keeps the vehicle from looking too tall. So if you look at the old Challengers from 1971, they have this wide, thin look to them. So modern vehicles have a different styling, and for a variety of different reasons, they have to come lower to the ground. So to kind of mitigate that tall look, they kind of separate that a little bit. At least that's what I think part of the reason that is for, in addition to, you know, protecting the vehicle from road debris. This is what the key looks like, and it's a proximity key designed to where you can just keep this in your pocket and use the vehicle 100%. Now, it is a smooth key, it's not very heavy, and it has a lot of functional buttons on it, as well as a physical key here on the inside when you need it. So in this particular case, it has the remote start, which is handy, panic button, the ability to release the trunk, and the lock and unlock buttons here. Let's go ahead and push the panic button. And the trunk release, when you push it and hold, basically you push it twice, but you see it doesn't go up much at all. It's still basically down. It just releases it so you can lift it up from there. It'd be nice if it lifted up just at least a little bit more, so that way your hands doesn't get dirty while you're picking it up. You know, it's one of those things where if it's just a little bit more, you can put your hands underneath it, into the side of it, and you can lift it up easier. So as long as you have this key with you, it could be in your pocket, in a bag, as long as it's within a close proximity to the outside of either the driver or the passenger door, you can lock it by pushing this button, and you can unlock it by putting your hand under the handle, and it has a sensor under here that senses the key, but also your hand position, and it allows you access to the vehicle. Now, you do have to place your hand under there for 1 second or so. You want to give it a chance to sense it, and then unlock the door before you start tugging on the handle, because there's a slight delay. So once you put your hand under there, wait for it to unlock, then you can go ahead and open the vehicle. It also has a physical key location here on the driver's side only. Now the side mirrors, they do have the ability to, they are breakaway mirrors, but you can see that seam right in here, right there, where it's kind of on an angle. So as I turn it, so if you were to bump it into something, it has to go on the angle. It's not going to break away, you know, straight that way. You can also break away this way, but you notice it's still sticking out quite a bit, and it continues on like so. Here's the inside of the passenger side door. You can see it's mostly black except for the handle there, and then you do have some stitching. Now the soft touch surfaces are basically from the armrest up, so all this is soft touch. This is like a synthetic Nerf type material, foam type material. It's very durable and easy to clean. It comes out down here, cuts off there. This is a cloth. All in here is a cloth. It's not super soft, bottoms out quickly. And then this is very soft. So your armrest is very soft. It continues up. All the way around here is all soft. The bottom portion is hard plastic. You have a pocket here. So in there's a pocket that goes down there quite a ways. And then you also have this right here. Now this sticks out a little bit. So you can see that little bump in the door. But not a huge deal, but some people have issue with it. There's a threshold, manually adjusted cloth seats here on the passenger side. Of course, you can upgrade to leather seats and all that stuff with the Scat pack. There's the embroidered little bumblebee there, looking pretty cool. You can see there's a little net pocket here. You can put some stuff. It's very shallow, but it does give you the ability to put some stuff in there. And then you have a 12-volt power supply. Notice there's a little key on it that lets you know that it turns on and off with the ignition. And plenty of legroom. Floor mat hooks in place in one place over here on the passenger side. Lockable glove compartment, and it's felt lined. It also has a little shelf up in there, so you have a shelf and then a regular glove compartment, which is pretty neat. This is all hard plastic down here. This is that foam, like a foam material, soft touch. If you have the front seats all the way back, then you can see there's no leg room. but there's plenty of legroom in the front area, so you can actually pull the seat up a little bit and have a decent amount of legroom and have adult passengers in the back seat. They are fairly functional. They have enough room, and they have an armrest with cup holders that you can move up out of the way if you want. But back here, you do have to compromise with the front seats as far as legroom. But as far as having a passengers in the back, it's not a big deal. It's pretty good. It does have a center hump that's huge, so having a center passenger back here, probably not the best idea. But it does have climate control vents back here. And on the back of both front seats are pockets. So that's a like a vinyl type material, and then you have hard plastics around the outside. So looking at the back of the vehicle, it has a body colored shark fin antenna right here at the top. At the top of the glass is the third brake light, powered by LEDs. And it has a spoiler integrated. Well, it's a little bit integrated, but it's a spoiler. It's a different color. In this case, it's the flat black. And you have the Scat badging back here on it. Also, when I said integrated, I was talking about them integrating this backup camera here in the center. So it's in a very center position of the vehicle, and it's in a fairly high position. So you have very good visibility on the camera system back here. There's also parking sensors across the back. You can see the parking sensor there. True dual exhaust. And it sounds great. So when you remote start it, has a nice rumble. And you can push it again to turn it off. So remote start is really awesome because you can start it up back here in front of the exhaust so you can hear it good. And your neighbors will probably hear it too when you start it up. It has a good sound, but it's not overly loud. Like some of the Demon and the Hellcat are much louder and have this it just carries further, I guess. Okay, so remember the trunk. Use the key to pop it up. There's another way that you can open the trunk, and that is you push this button right here. So we'll go ahead and push that. And you can see it lifts, it just goes a little bit. Now you can reach in here a little bit and lift it up. Now you notice this area is a gloss black around the name there, and so this scratches up fairly easy. So over time, if you're not very careful, reaching for that button, if you don't go in the right spot and start touching this area, especially have keys in your hands, this area can get scratched up. It does have carpet on the underside of the trunk. I like these flat areas here because you can set stuff down. I really like that. I do it all the time. Okay, so here's the trunk area, and it's very functional. For this type of vehicle, it has a really good sized trunk, and the seats can fold down so you can add to your trunk. Also, under here is all carpeted. Covers up all the speakers, the wires, all the mechanisms and all that stuff, which is really nice. So if you're putting luggage back here, you can go ahead and cram your luggage in and not worry about getting your luggage damaged from all this exposed metal like some other vehicles have. So having it fully carpeted is nice. And another thing is it has these shocks. So this is what holds the trunk open, and that's why it doesn't go up very much. It just pops it, releases it, and then it just sits there. And then you have to lift it up. Now, the benefit of that is that you don't have these big arms going down into the trunk like some other vehicles that take up some of your cargo space or scratch your luggage or get in the way. You know, that kind of thing, or springs or whatever. This is completely outside of the trunk area. So the trunk area is completely separate area, and it doesn't have any, you know, those problems. So I think that's really good. Now this under here is where you'll find your battery and sometimes your spare tire. So in this particular case, it has the tire inflator kit. You can get a spare tire to put in this area, or you can upgrade and get these subwoofers, which will be located back here as well. So this is a little storage area you can use. Since it doesn't have the spare tire, you can use this space, but I would highly recommend upgrading and getting the spare tire. So we can fold these seats down, one or the other, or both, and add to our cargo space while still maintaining passenger space when needed. But you can fold them both down and, you know, open it up quite a bit. There's a little bit of a, they don't fold flat, so there's a little bit of an angle, but it's better than, I mean, it helps out a lot when you're putting stuff back here. The fuel door is here on the driver's side, and it has that 1971 retro style. In this case, it's a flat black. There is also a chrome option. So it has a traditional cap, tether, and a little place to hang the tether right there. So it keeps the cap out of the way while you're pumping gas. To start it up, as long as you have the key inside the vehicle, it could be in your pocket, in a bag. As long as it's inside here with you, put your foot on the brake, hold it, and push this button right here. Here's the floorboard in front of the driver's seat. Now you notice that the floor mats hook in place in two places, keeping them straight and from sliding out on you. There's your accelerator and brake pedal, and those are a raised rubber aluminum pedal, nice and sporty looking. There's a foot actuated parking brake here on the left, and then there's a footrest. Now the footrest isn't very wide, and so it's a little bit of an issue for me, but it does give you that platform, which is better than nothing. So let's take a look under the hood. To open the hood, there's a latch a little bit to the right of center. So here's your center line, a little bit to the right here. And you reach in, it's down below. So you reach down, move it to the left, and you can lift up. So you can see it right here. That's what it's doing. You do have a seal across the front here. And the hood holds itself up. So you lift it up just a little bit and it holds itself up. It has those shocks just like the trunk does. And you can see where the airflow goes through on this hood. Seal across the front there and across the back. This helps out with airflow, but also noise and stuff like that. And there's that insulation. Alright, so this is your engine compartment. So you notice it has these plastic pieces right here. Those are removable here and here. Those are just covers. Your valve covers are actually down here. So there's your valve cover there and down there. And your coil pack, there's one for each cylinder, is rowed up on each side. And now this engine has a what they call MDS, multi-displacement system, so it can actually cut back to a 4-cylinder when all the power is not needed. So if you're just cruising along, maybe coasting, going downhill, it can cut back to a 4-cylinder just to save on fuel. And you can't tell the difference. I mean, it just transitions smoothly. So it's very interesting. It's hard to believe sometimes when you're actually driving it. It doesn't seem like it actually does it at all, but it does. And then the fuel economy really lets you know that. The inside of the driver's side door is just like the other side, except for it has a few more buttons. So your power door locks are here. Your power windows are, both of them are automatic, but they're just automatic down. So as you push it, it'll go down. But you do have to hold it. So if I just pull it like that, they're not gonna go up. I do have to hold it to go up. Like so. Side mirrors, you just pick a side and adjust it with that little pad. So the driver's seat is a partly power seat. So to tilt the back, you do have a manual lever here, has a 4-way lumbar adjustment, and then this is how you raise, lower, tilt, and move the seat forward and back. Now there is no manual seat option. So this is standard. An automatic seat is standard, a power seat. To the left of the steering column, you have your headlight switch. So you have automatic, off, parking light, and on. And then you push this in to turn on your fog lights. So there's two dimmer switches. One is for your gauges, the other is for the ambient lighting in the vehicle. And then you can release your trunk here. It has a tilt and a telescoping steering column, nice and smooth, a lot smoother than a lot of other vehicles. And the lever is here in the center, so it's like an ambidextrous lever here in the middle, and just goes up like that and locks in place. You just push it down to release it. Okay, so I'm sitting in the driver's seat checking it out, and I have the seat all the way down and all the way back, so you can see what the potential legroom is here. So I have a pretty good amount of legroom here. Now this bottle holder sticks out a little bit. That's the only limiting factor, but this is all open here. And this is a little bit too far back for me. And I mean, I guess I could drive this way, but it'd be more comfortable if I pull up a little bit. So if you're really tall, this might be a really good vehicle for you if you're looking for this type of, you know, car. Now there's a little storage pocket down under here, little storage net pocket. All right, so looking at the steering wheel, it's a leather wrap steering wheel, and it's smooth leather here on the bottom, and then the perforated leather here on the side. And then it has the grips here. Nice thick steering wheel, and comfortable, soft, just fantastic. Just perfect for my hands. But I have big hands, so you really have to check it out yourself. But it is a nice, comfortable steering wheel. And it has paddle shifters here on the back. There's a plus and then your minus here. And also below that is some buttons. So they're actually on both sides. It has these buttons here. It has an up, a down toggle switch, and then a center button. And on the right, this is your volume for your radio. So you can adjust the volume up and down, the up and down. The center portion changes through your audio source. So you can cycle through your audio source. On the left side, up and down is changing through your tracks or your radio stations, depending on where you're at. And then the center button is cycling through your presets only. These are really handy. Once you get used to these type of buttons on the back of the steering wheel, it's really hard to do without them. Totally spoil you. So your cruise control is here on the front, here on the right side. So you turn it on, set it, resume, and cancel. Pretty basic there. You can get the adaptive cruise control, and it'll have the buttons down here for that. The Bluetooth system, you have voice recognition, which is a very advanced system in this particular vehicle. Dodge has a really good voice recognition system, and then you have answer and hang up for your calls once you pair a phone to the system. Now you can pair up to, I think it's 6 or 10 phones, and you can prioritize those. So whichever one is at the top of the priority when you get in the vehicle, that's the one that's going to be used when you're making and receiving calls. These buttons here correspond with the screen between the gauges. We'll get to that in a minute. Your turn signal's here, but it also serves as your windshield wiper controls as well. Okay, so here's the gauges. They're pretty cool because you have physical gauges here on the sides. So this is your RPMs, your tachometer, and your speedometer there on the right side. And they're kind of concave looking, so they have that retro style, retro 70s style. Now the only issue with these is they're mostly just for looks. They're not as functional as, you can get a good idea of what the concave looks there. They're not quite as functional as you would think, because you can see the needles kind of wide, and you see how close together these numbers are. You don't really get a precise miles per hour. You just have an estimated range there. But you do have this big digital speedometer here, and a lot of information here. So this is where most of your information is going to come from. Now you can see it has the digital compass here, outside temperature. These are customizable. You can change this information up here. There's your digital speedometer, and then you have your engine coolant temperature, your fuel gauge, and what gear you're in over here. And a lot of this stuff is customizable. So remember these buttons here. This is what we're going to use to cycle through and get more information. Now the default screen is the digital speedometer. So you can see the digital speedometer is nice, big, and easy to read, and everything. So let's scroll down, and you get more information. So as we scroll left and right, on this first one, there's nothing there. Okay, but if we scroll down here to the vehicle info screen, now we can go right and left. So we have all this information regarding the temperatures and pressures, engine torque, oil horsepower, lots of cool stuff here, tire pressure. So you can cycle through on this one. This is your vehicle info, which is your second one down. Scrolling down again, this will be your performance. So you have timers, 0 to 100, 1/8 of a mile, quarter mile, braking distance. You even have a G-force meter, so as you're braking or accelerating or turning, it will give you a the G-forces there, which is pretty neat. There's peak G-forces there that the vehicle has been through so far, and you can reset that. Lap timers, lap history, top speed. Just one time I got in the vehicle and had it actually said like 180 miles an hour or something like that on there. And it had like 3 miles on the vehicle, so I think it was from the factory that were testing it or something, I'm not sure. All right, so scrolling down, fuel economy. So this will be your average. So right now we're sitting still, not doing anything, so it's going to skew the numbers. But as you're driving, so you notice there's two, so I'm scrolling left and right. So this gives us our a range, the average, and a little meter there. So the other one, it's basically the same thing, except for it has this current miles per gallon. So as you're driving, that's going to be constantly changing. So if you don't want that, you can go to the other one. All right, so scroll down. This is your trip info. So there's 2 of them, A and B, and you can reset those independently. It also has a timer. It also has a timer there. And you have a distance, average miles per gallon, and a timer. There's whatever your radio is doing. Stored messages will be there. This is where you set up the screen. All right, so we can go into that, and we can change the thing. So right now we're going to change the upper left, and let's go to range. So now we have range there. All right, scrolling down again. So this would be active diagnostic codes. That's pretty cool. You can change a speed warning if you'd like to do that. And then it goes back to your digital speedometer. So there's quite a bit in here, but you don't have to go through it. It's just there when you need it. The default would be the digital speedometer for me, and that would be fine. But it is customizable. One of the things that I would do immediately is customize what you want up here. So that does come in handy. Having the range, having the outside temperature, whatever you want up there, does come in handy. You know. So that's one thing I would recommend. When you fully set up this vehicle, there is a lot of things to customize for you. Okay, so here's your touch screen, and it is very impressive as far as what you can do with it and how easy it is to use, and the clarity of the screen, the color, everything. It just looks really impressive when you're seeing it in person. Hopefully the camera's doing it justice here. So this is, you can see these icons across the bottom. And right now we're in this first one, the media, and you can see that, you know, with the radio, whatever's playing, you have AM, FM, satellite radio, and you can change your audio source. Presets there at the top. We can change the audio. We can do a direct tune. Especially on satellite radio, there's lots of stations, so you can tune it in directly. You can change the source, Bluetooth, auxiliary, USB 1, USB 2. You also have the Apple CarPlay, Android Auto capabilities on this vehicle as well. So this next one here is climate. So you can see what's going on with your climate control. Now this is a little bit redundant because some of the controls are below, and I'll show you that in a minute. But you get more details here. You can see where you want the air to blow. Controls for your heated steering wheel and heated seats here on both the driver and passenger. You also have a shortcut to your settings. We'll get to that shortly. Dual zone, driver and passenger, we can sync those if you like, and your fan speed. So let's go to the next one. This is your controls. Now you notice we already saw that because we hit this button and it takes us there. And then there's a shortcut to your settings. So some of them, there's a lot of shortcuts here and there. So your apps. So this is where you can choose which icons that you want down here, but also it has more information. So you can go into your performance pages here. So let's go ahead, and there's lots of cool stuff here. So we have Travel Link, Sirius XM's Travel Link. That helps out a lot with traveling and finding gas stations and restaurants and all that stuff. But let's go ahead and hit our SRT mode so we can see about the this is what they call the SRT dashboard, and we can change the transmission, the paddle shifters, the traction, the steering. We can adjust all these different things, and we can have presets: track, sport, and customize. And then automatic, so this will be, you know, as you're driving, I guess you can say, depending on your driving. So let's go to SRT dashboard. So this vehicle, I was going to get to it later, but it has a launch control. So this is where you can control your RPMs at launch, and there's so much customization here. There's your drive modes. Let's get out of that. Let's go back here. Okay, so you have performance pages. That takes a second to load up. Now, speaking of loading up, all these screens are faster than prior years. Especially between the gauges, this one over here, that's faster. It just seems like it goes through everything is not as sluggish as before. And this screen as well, loading up the performance pages always took a little bit of time in the past, but in this case, it's a little bit faster, everything. So in the apps, there's lots of stuff to go over here, but I'm gonna quickly go through some of this stuff. These are in addition to what you have down here. So if you want to have something down here that's in this screen, so we can like hit that and carry it down here and replace that icon. So we can have that down there. So, you know, this part is a little bit customizable since there's so much stuff, but this is where you see all of it. All right, so XM Travel Link, that's really cool for finding a gas station or a restaurant and weather and all kinds of information while you're traveling. So that's a really good service there. And then you have the performance stuff mixed in here as well. So SRT mode. So this is where you can go into your drive modes. So you have track, sport, and custom, and then auto. And you notice it has the transmission ability to adjust that. Paddle shifters, traction, and steering all can be customized here. You have race options, all kinds of cool stuff. The launch control. You have a valet mode. All right, let's get out of that. Let's go to the dashboard here. So you can go into the drive modes, which we saw before. But you can also, on that one, this is where you see the performance pages. That takes a second to load up. But it is faster. All these screens, especially the one between the gauges here, is faster on on the newer models here. Okay, so this is where you have your horsepower, what your gear you're in. You can add something there, and then your G-force meter. You have timers, gauges, G-force, engine. Oh, this is pretty cool. And then you have this dyno. That is awesome. So as you're driving, you can see your torque and horsepower. All right, and also, speaking of that, you do have the ability to take a screenshot and save it on a flash drive on this. So if you want to have, see right here, it has this little camera. You can hit that, and you have to have a you know, of course you have to have the media to save it on there, but you can save it, and that's pretty cool. So if you want to save information off the screen, you can. And your launch control, you can set the RPMs in which you want the vehicle to launch. So in this case, it's set at 1500 RPMs. Then you have your race options here. Line lock ready. So activate line lock control. So this will lock up the vehicle and give, basically it's using all the components to give you the traction and acceleration for a launch, basically. And there's your launch control. So you can adjust it. Right now it's at 1500. But yeah, I can go on forever in these particular things, but that's your performance stuff. You have your heated seat, heated steering wheel, and your projection manager. This is your Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. You can set up a Wi-Fi hotspot. You can get roadside assistance. You can activate, you know, the Dodge services. You have a user guide here that you can go through. So we got over here performance pages, more direct shortcuts here. Settings. One of the things I go in the settings and do is turn off when you lock the vehicle. It doesn't beep unless you hit it too many times. Same thing with remote start. You can go in here and set how much, like set a timer on the headlights when you turn off the vehicle. Lots of different things that you can set it up once you get it for your preferences. All right, so this one is your navigation, and you can view the map here, and you can pinch zoom in and out. You see where you're at, or you can put in a particular address. You can save addresses, that kind of stuff. We already saw the SRT dashboard, and we already saw the settings. So that's kind of a little bit, going into a little bit further than I wanted to, but it's kind of a quick rundown of the screen and all the different things that you can play around with here on the screen and set up and customize. It's really neat. All right, so down here, you see some redundancy as far as your volume for your radio is on your steering wheel, but it's also here. Tune through your stations there. Quick access to your drive modes. Turn on your launch control. You can mute your radio. You can turn your screen off if you just want it off. You can just tap it, turn it back on. Parking sensors, you can turn those off if you want. Now when you push the button, this is the off light, so that's not the on, so that's off. Traction control, you can turn that off if you want to spin tires. As default will be on. And then your climate control, your front and rear defrosters, fan speed, where you and the temperatures here for your driver and passenger, recirculate the air. I really like the automatic setting. You set the temperatures and it'll do everything for you. All right, so here's your shifter, and to the right of that is a little storage compartment, and underneath this little storage thing for putting change or whatever. Also, it's good for propping your phone up on. But underneath that is a latch to, you know, you pull that to put the vehicle in neutral if the battery's dead or something, you need to tow it. But there's your shifter, and it's like a T-handle type shifter, like your old ratchet shifter, and it actually has that capability. So let's go ahead and put it in reverse. And two things will happen. One is your backup camera will pop up here with active guidelines. So as I turn the steering wheel, it'll give us a estimated trajectory of our where we're going. Also, the second thing is your parking sensors will pop up here. Now, it will give you an audible beep if there's something back there, but also a visual of where the actual thing is, so you get an idea of where to look when you're backing up. All right, continuing down, there's neutral, there's drive. That's your normal drive mode. You can use your paddle shifters at this point. Once you hit your paddle shifter, it will engage. See, it will say manual mode engaged. Hold plus paddle to exit. So now, if we want to change to the gears, we can do that. Okay. It'll keep us within a reasonable range, though. It's not going to let us mess up the transmission. But if we want to go back into normal automatic shifting, we'll just press and hold that, and then it goes back into normal drive. if we want to use it like a ratchet shifter, we move it to the left. Now we can bump it and change to the gears. So this is down, this is up. At any time, we can just slide it back to the right and go back into normal drive mode. Normal drive. You have illuminated cup holders here. Does have a divider in the middle. Okay, so this is your armrest. It's nice and soft. Goes back quite a bit, and it lifts up this way. And you have a storage compartment that's felt lined. And it has a 12-volt power supply with a battery on it, letting you know that it's directly connected to the battery. So even when the vehicle is off, let's say you want to charge your cell phone while you go into a store, it is backlit illuminated too. Then you can use that one and charge your cell phone and with the vehicle off, which is pretty neat. And then you have auxiliary input and 2 USB inputs here. Now it has places for wires to go in and out of the compartments here and here. So when you put this down, you can have the wires go out. But also, right in here, this doesn't go down that far, so it doesn't pinch wire. So if you want to run your wire out through here, it's fine. I do it all the time, right in this area. This is all soft here. All that kind of blends in with the armrest. This is all soft here, around your leg. Has an auto dim rear view mirror, and then you have roadside assistance and emergency buttons up here on the bottom. It's actually auto dimming now because I have the shade over the light sensor. Home link garage door opener controls are here, and tap lights. This is for your sunroof. We'll get to that in a minute. And there is a place to put your shades, and it is in this particular case, it has a foam piece in there. In previous years, it had a felt lining, but this one has the foam. The thing about the felt lining, like the glove compartment and this compartment here, is especially when it's new, you'll start to get little pieces, breaking off, and then you have these little black pieces everywhere. It's not doing it now, but so I wonder if that's why they chose to do it different in there. That's a possibility. Okay, so here's your visor, and it has mirrors and lights. Has an extension. It's a short extension. Extends out this way as well. Metal rod. Has a little clip. Okay, so looking at the sunroof, has a shade that blocks 100% of the light. And you can open that up and let some light in. You can vent it, or you can open it. All right, that's as far back as it goes. Okay, so looking at the visibility, that's one issue with this vehicle is those pillars back there. They are massive, and you have these really bad blind spots. So having the parking sensors and the backup camera is a huge plus, because if you drive this vehicle without a backup camera, without the parking sensors, then it's a little bit of a pain. You get used to it, but it's not ideal. So anyways, thank you for watching, and thank you to Vann, Underwood, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram here in Whiteville, North Carolina, for allowing me to show off this awesome vehicle. And before we go, we can look at the window sticker if you'd like. So there's the basic color options there, engine, transmission. These are standard equipment. Interior features. Continues down, exterior features, optional equipment. So some of this stuff is not standard on this vehicle. So you can see it has the prices there beside each option. and then a total price, and here's your warranty information. There's Vann Underwood's information there as far as their address, fuel economy, safety ratings, where the vehicle's made. Anyways, I'm going to have information in the description of this video as well, so if you want to get some specs and all that stuff, you can do that. Okay, thanks again, and I'll see you guys next time.
transmit through conscious neural interference. You are receiving this broadcast as a dream. We are transmitting from the year 1999. You are receiving this broadcast in order to alter the events you are seeing. Our technology has not developed a transmitter strong enough to reach your conscious state of awareness. But this is not a dream. You are seeing what is actually occurring for the purpose of causality violation. This broadcast will be received by perceptual centers as a dream. But this is not a dream. It's not a dream. Not a dream. Not a dream. Not a dream.